I'm Steve Dangle, and you're listening to Stick to the Pod.
Hello and welcome back to Stick to the Pod and another episode 17. And it's Cup semi-final week. And what a fantastic weekend of NIHL Morley Conference hockey we have just had. And if you were at the game, any games the past weekend, I'm sure you were disappointed. First of all, first things first, got to send out our best wishes to Whitley Warriors head coach Tony Hand. He is going in to hospital for surgery, so we wish him all the best and the speediest of recoveries, and hopefully he's behind that Warriors bench again in no time. So we're going to jump straight into the weekend. We're going to start off with the first fixture that I was at, because the next fixture had huge ramifications for both teams. So it was the Billingham Stars at home to the Nottingham Lions, and as the score line suggests, an easy night's work for the Billingham Stars. Well, no, it wasn't to be. Inside the first 9 minutes, Gritans scored a 9-minute hat-trick, and you think, oh, this is going to be bad. This is going to be a bad night for Nottingham. No, Stars stopped playing. Stopped doing what's made them successful all season. Stopped moving the puck fast. Started playing within themselves. Might be because of the eye on the game on the next night, but that's not the point. You've got to do a professional job. You've got to get the job done. You've got to finish the game that you're in and worry about the next night. As it happens, the Lions and the Stars went at it for a bit. Probably Nottingham the better team for quite a period of time. But I think it was just legs in the end, and that little bit of quality that the Stars have got above most teams. Like I said, Gritton's 9-minute hat-trick. Elder on the same line, getting 2 goals. Sykes also on the same line, getting on the score sheet. Ian Brown from the second line getting on the score sheet, along with Callum Wilkinson getting his first off the year. And you could see in those celebrations a huge relief off his back, finally getting on the score sheet. So 8 goals for the Billingham Stars to the 2 of the Nottingham Lions. Sonnerton and, yep, you guessed it, Yokoyama, who probably missed 5, maybe 6 clear-cut chances. He looked more interested in having a ding-dong with the crowd, having ding-dongs with players on the ice, just getting involved in shit he didn't really need to get involved in. What a wasted talent that Zachary Yokoyama has turned into be, because I'd have him in my team tomorrow. Because you can see he plays within himself. You can see that he does. The guy would be lethal with talent around him, and I mean lethal. But he can't keep his mouth shut, and he can't just play the game. He's got to be involved in every aspect. And I think one day his mouth could get him hurt. It could really get him hurt. Anyway, nothing really much more to be said. Wasn't a straightforward win for the Billingham Stars. The Lions were plucky. They fought hard. Ran out of gas in the end. And an 8-2 victory for the Stars. So anyway, on to the big game of the fixture. Of the weekend. Of the Saturday, I should say. The Solihull Barons, did they lose? Yeah, they lost the weekend before against the D-side Dragons, who had to win to make the semi-final of the Cup. So the game was basically a must-win for both teams. Also for the Dragons in the league as well. Kind of getting a little bit left behind there. Currently around 5 or 6 points behind second place in third. So it's still a big league game for the Dragons. But obviously that dangle of a cup semi-final, which I think they fully expected. I think at the start of the season they would have been anticipating to be making the cup semi-final. So a huge loss for them when they come out on the wrong end of an 8-4 loss to the Solihull Barons, who get a huge victory after the loss to the Widnes Wild the week before, to try and keep tabs with the Billingham Stars. Goal scorers for the Barons, 8 of them, 8 different goal scorers. Phil Mackay, Nicholas Otterson, Byfeld, Soden, Challenge, Maurice, Anderton, White. And over on the Dragon side of things, Parsons has been in the goal since he's come back from injury. Parry also on the score sheet, he's got a few goals to share. Hayek been on the goal scorer's sheet quite a lot since his arrival to D-side. And Brodie Jessen, as you'd expect. But that's where it doesn't end. Now, I've heard lots of rumours I've had lots of messages, seen lots of tweets, I've seen lots of Facebook back and forth. But obviously something happened in this game that led to a player being seriously injured, and we also wish Dan Mulcahy a speedy recovery, because it has been, I don't know if it has been confirmed, but it's been known that he has a broken arm. So we wish him a speedy recovery if that is the case. I'm not here to say he has or he hasn't. He may just be badly injured, but of course it could also be a broken arm. So we wish him a speedy recovery either way. And obviously a lot of players were getting suspended, and we'll move into that for the next night, Sunday, where they go to Sheffield missing five key players. Both Mulcahy's, Byfold, the netminder, and they get a bit of a shock in Sheffield. They really do. They get a shock. They don't half get a shock, because they're on the wrong end of a 6-3 loss to the Sheffield Scimitars, who get a huge victory. Heinzel, who I've been mentioning over the past few weeks, I think I mentioned him opening weekend. I was very impressed with him. Very good player for the Scimitars, scoring 2. Nixon getting on the score sheet. Brammer getting another 2. He's been scoring quite a few goals of late. He's always seems to be on the score sheet. Danico also for the Scimitars. And then on the Barron side of it, you've got Crow, Otterson and White. But also what this also tells me, no Mulcahy, no secondary scoring for the Barons. If anything's wrong with that top line, the Barons capitulate or they struggle, and they've been in a couple of overtime wins at home, scraping past teams they should be expecting to beat. They lose to Widnes, they lose to Scimitars. They just don't have that secondary scoring. Next up is the Widnes Wild at home to the Hull Jets, and it's a 4-3 victory for the Hull Jets, getting that all-important away win. And they would have been buzzing from Saturday's news, knowing that the Dragons failing to win puts them in the Cup semi-final. A bit more about that later on. So yeah, Hull beating the Widnes Wild. The Wild will probably be a bit disappointed with this, with previous weekend's 4-pointer at home to Hull. They're probably thinking they would get a victory there, but no, Hull walk away. Daintith, Jaseko, Beach and Kemp, Hull scorers. Barlow, Coulter and Hughes for the Widnes Wild. So yeah, a little bit of a setback for Joe Coulter's men, but nonetheless a close game, and you can see that over the past couple of weeks they have been improving. Next game, it's the Whitley Warriors and the Deeside Dragons. The Deeside Dragons, who will be hurting after that loss in Solihull from the Saturday, travel up to Whitley Bay. Fair play to them. The weather was horrendous on Sunday. No, it wasn't even horrendous. It was absolutely shambolic. No one should have been travelling. But you know, you got to do what you got to do for your team and to fulfill your fixtures. And the Dragons raced out to a 3-0 victory, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, there we go. Warriors frail at the back, not scoring goals. And the Dragons are blasted out to a 3-0 victory, a 3-0 lead even. And then, as I've read through the comments on the Warriors Discuss and various other places, speaking to a few people, as the game went on, the Warriors got warmer and warmer, and things started to click in place. And obviously with the news of the return of Dean Holland, who played in this game and scoring 2 goals, and old import Phil Edgar also returning, it was probably a happy, confident place. Not at 3-0, mind, not when they were losing 3-0. But obviously as they got back to 3-0 and then took the lead, the place would have been bouncing, and they'd have had a lot more happy fans. Goal scorers for the Dragons was Hayek again on the score sheet, Volusiak and McKinney getting 2 for the Dragons. And for the Whitley Warriors, Carl Queenan's getting 2, Robinson's on the score sheet, Holland's getting 2 on his first game back, Grigors and Finlayson. Now there's some names there that I expected to see all season long on the score sheet in Queenan and Finlayson. And maybe Holland's arrival is what they needed, someone that could give them the puck, someone that could feed them in the dangerous areas, and someone who could just play with them, who's got that same hockey IQ, instead of either being ahead of the play all the time or other players aren't quite on their level, and it can be quite frustrating. But it's good to see the Warriors back on the winning road. Could be very helpful and advantageous that they've strengthened for my team, the Stars, because they will now start to look to take points off teams around them, and they're probably the team that other clubs will try to avoid in the playoffs. You probably argue Warriors are a team that teams will want to avoid, but we'll have to wait and see with that one. Obviously we still have Phil Edgar's return in a couple of weeks' time. And then on to the game on the evening, or so we thought, at Planet Ice Blackburn. where the Hawks hosted the Billingham Stars, who had won 13 games in a row. And it wasn't Stars' performance, that's for sure. It wasn't clinical, it wasn't flash. The nice stick to tape passing just wasn't there. The speed wasn't there. Granted, a couple of line changes were made. Stars were missing 2 key defensemen, especially Tommy Spraggan on that big open ice. The one thing I noted last time Billingham were in Blackburn, the Hawks didn't know what to do with Tommy Spraggan. They didn't know how to cope with his speed, they didn't know how to cope with him exploiting space. This time they didn't have that to deal with, so it was easier for them to shut down the neutral zone a lot easier. You could see Dominic Osmond pit himself up against Billingham to see how far his team have come. You could see that just from his coaching on Sunday. You could see how tactically into it he was. I was watching him carefully, watching his line changes, watching his line matching. You could see within Dominic Osmond, he had a tough game thought-wise on Sunday. You could see he put a lot of thought, a lot of effort in how to approach the game against the Stars. And to be fair, on another night, it could have went their way. But to be fair, Stars missing 2 D-men, the defence and Tom Brown played absolutely fantastic. They really did. They played absolutely top draw. Wouldn't say it was the best game we've seen from the guys individually on defence or from Tom. I've seen Tom play much, much better, and he'll probably say it himself, he's played much, much better. But he was fantastic. The lads did well, shutting down Adam Barnes, which don't know, just not his clinical self. I just don't know whether he took out the game better than I thought he had been, but he did have a couple of clear moments that he failed to finish. A couple of chances came Stars' way and they were taken. It was as simple as that. The first goal coming from Rollins Grittens, a nice pass came to the centre ice. He put that away. Come at the end of the second period, there was a bit of hoo-ha on a couple of changes. I don't think Dominic Osmond got his match-up that he wanted. He was trying to match up the face-off dot, obviously defensive face-off. You want to win that draw and see out the rest of the period. There was only 15-16 seconds left in the period. Stars managed to win that draw, who somehow for some reason had James Moss playing left D. He got a shot on goal, a rebound. Sean Galloway, Shuggy, put it away. And that was it really. Stars kind of controlled moments of the game without doing anything, without being flash, without being at 100%. And I think the lads knew that it was just going to be one of those games where it was going to be a 100% gritty game. It was going to be a gritty performance, and that's just the way it was going to be. Then Pollitt scores in the third period, probably one that Tom Brown would want back. I think a rebound he dropped. Pollitt put it into the open net. And then again, the Stars just controlled the puck. They didn't give the Hawks anything after that. And until the last 2 minutes, Hawks pull the goalie. It's all bedlam. Sykes gets a breakaway. Hawks defenseman comes sliding in. Sykes chips it over the open goal. Hawks go down the other end. Bang, it's in. It's 2-2. Stars players are going mental that it's being kicked in. And there was Dave Emerson as well, waving his arm, saying no goal. The goal was cancelled due to the puck being kicked in. Crowds going mental, booing. You've seen the footage by now. A distinct kick in motion. It's clear as day. Lee Pollitt's left foot goes back to forward in a kicking motion and not a redirecting of the puck. You can see he kicks it forward when all he had to do was just let it hit him, really, or position his foot in a position where the puck would bounce in. His stick was up in the air, so he had no intention of playing it with his stick, and the right call was made, which, to be fair for Dave Emerson, the referee, was probably the only call he made all night. Granted, he was further north than we are in Billingham. It was clear to see the weather was on his mind. No penalties called. Quick game to a point, and he's back on the road and getting home before the weather got severely bad. But it wasn't happening. The weather was severely bad when we left Blackburn. Which brings me to another thing about the kicked-in goal. I listened to Dominic Osmond's interview, and I'm a bit disappointed with what he had to say, really. He says he watches a lot of hockey, watches a lot of NIHL, and maybe doesn't understand the rule here in the UK. I'm sorry, Dominic, you're talking absolute bollocks. We watch night after night in the NHL that play gets waved off in the NHL. It was a clear, distinct motion. I know your emotions are probably running high, but the right decision was made. If that was against you, you'd have been irate if that goal was given against you. But it wasn't. The right call was made. The Hawks fans seem to have been buzzing with a fantastic game. They probably did deserve something, and like I said at the start of this game, on another night they probably win the game, but they don't. It was a gritty championship winning win for the Stars, a huge win. They sit pretty at the top of the table with a 6-point advantage. So what I'm going to do now, actually, because of this weekend's fixtures, I am going to go through the current league table because it's Cup semi-final weekend, so there is no other fixtures other than the semi-final. The league getting something right for a change. So we're going to get straight into it. At the top of the table, playing 23 games, is Billingham Stars on 40 points. 147 goals scored in those 23 games. Only 47 conceded as well. Second place, played a game more than the Billingham Stars and trail by 6 points, is the Solihull Barons. Third place, also 24 games played, 5 points back on 29 points. Whitley Warriors, 24 points, 24 games played, 27 points. In fifth place, on the same points but 2 less games, the Hull Jets. Sixth place, Blackburn Hawks, also 2 less games but a point behind on 26 points. So that could be a big moment there. If the Hull Jets and the Blackburn Hawks both win those games in hand, they could jump the Warriors. But obviously we know the Warriors have strengthened very, very well, and they've still got each other to play. Witness Wild in 7th place. It's probably the only guaranteed position so far. They are 9 points behind the Blackburn Hawks, played 2 games more, but 7 points ahead of the Sheffield Scimitars, who have played 2 games left on 10 points. And the Nottingham Lions, they're in 9th on 8 points. So as it stands for the playoffs, you would have Billingham Stars versus the Sheffield Scimitars, the Solihull Barons versus the Widnes Wild, the Deeside Dragons against the Blackburn Hawks. What a belter that would be. A nice big derby with all that's gone on this year as well. And then you'd have the Warriors and the Hull Jets. And with that being said, mentioning the playoffs, I'd also like to welcome 3 more teams to the playoffs, which will be Deeside Dragons, Whitley Warriors and the Hull Jets have all now qualified for the first round of the playoffs. So that's it for the Morley Conference so far. Let's head straight into this weekend's semi-final matchups. And we've got 4th place Hull, or we could probably say seeded, 4th seed Hull versus 1st seed Billingham Stars. We then have the 2nd seed Solihull Barons against the 3rd seed Blackburn Hawks. So as you know, the higher you come, you gain home advantage if you wish to take it. And I believe Solihull and Billingham have both opted to be away from home on Saturday. Blackburn versus Solihull is going to be very interesting to me. Blackburn have already played a lot of games, M56 Cup, pointless, some Northern League Cup, pointless, and I believe it's hurt them in the league, whether it's been leggy on the next night or just leggy on the season so far. Like I said, they've played more games than anybody else. Yeah, sometimes it's good to play a lot of games, but sometimes there is such a thing as too many and you just don't allow the body to recover. Whereas a few of the lads on team play who aren't in these competitions, well, they're going to be on 1 game weekends some weekends and they're going to be resting up. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes. Blackburn, like I say, played a lot of games. Solihull going to be missing some key players coming this weekend. Dops is not out yet, so we don't know what's going to go on between Solihull and Deeside, what's going to get handed out there. But if Solihull go short bench to Blackburn like they did Sheffield, they could find the full weekend very, very tough. But we also know going to Solihull is a very tough place to go. And if Nicholas Otterson decides to stand up and put the team on his shoulders, they'll be very, very difficult to beat. And that moves us over to the Hull Jets and the Billingham Stars. And you've got to think Hull Jets will be buzzing for this game. They probably didn't plan for this game. They probably planned for a weekend off, a rest-up weekend, maybe a night out, bit of team bonding. But here they are in the Cup semi-final and they deserve to be there. That home form alone deserves them to be there. And beating teams like the Stars already at home, first game, opening night, way back in September, was it? September? And they beat Stars opening night 4-2. Granted, this is a very different Stars now. The 14 games in a row obviously won't be affected this weekend because it's Cup action. But 14 wins in a row, they're facing a completely different monster in the Stars. But Hull have grown as well. They're a better team. They know more about the league. They're a very well drilled side. They use their home ice very, very well. So it'll be a very, very interesting game. And obviously on the Sunday, it is the return fixtures between the 4 teams. And obviously a lot will depend on how those games go, how the first leg goes. But we're in for fantastic hockey nevertheless. So if you are near those rinks and your national team's away or your elite league team's away, or if you just want some hockey, Whitley fans, I'm sure you'll be welcome in Billingham to watch a good game of hockey. Likewise with Hull, Seahawks, if you guys are away or don't have a game, I'm sure the Jets would love you there. Blackburn, teams around you like Deeside and Widnes, if their fans have got nothing to do, they'd be in for a treat. Blackburn versus Solihull. And obviously Solihull, you've got the clubs down that way as well, Telfords and Coventry's, if they've got nothing on around that area. Get yourself along to Solihull on Sunday night, because if you are near those arenas over the weekend, you will get some fantastic hockey. That is a fact. And that just about covers everything. I know I'm going to quickly jump on to the ladle stuff, so just let me load that page, because it's also their cup semi-final weekend, so not many fixtures to go through. So just let me run through the last weekend's results. Right, so Saturday the 20th, we had the Nottingham Lions NIHL 2 at home to the Bradford Bulldogs. This was a 6-3 victory for the Bradford Bulldogs. League leaders, Telford Tigers NIHL 2, who were in league action against their semi-final opponents, the Sheffield Titans, and they humped them 10-2. Billingham Buccaneers saw a lot on social media this week saying they're certainly going to see a much different team from that opening. I think they played each other opening night or opening weekend. And I think the Sting won something like 9-3, quite a comfortable night's work. Still the same winner, but the much closer result. The Billingham Buccaneers, one of the new sides in the Ladle Division, was on the wrong end of a 3-1 loss. Sutton Sting taking the points there, but a much closer game. Into Sunday, Bradford Bulldogs beat Altrincham Aces 6-5. That's a big result, especially for the teams chasing that 4th spot in the league. The Sheffield Titans visited the Kingston Sharks, the other league's new side. It was a shootout victory for the Titans. Titans getting that all-important extra point in that chase for 4th, and a bit of a confidence builder going into that semi-final. And then Nottingham Lions NIHL 2 at home to Telford Tigers NIHL 2, and another comfortable night's work for the Tigers, coming out 7-2 victors. Would love to see the Tigers step up next year. No matter what, I'd love to see the Tigers step up. A 10-team division would be fantastic, and they would be a great side in our division. I just think they would be competitive straight away. They've got some real quality players there. Obviously, Carol Jets is there. He's been around for a long time, still doing his thing. We'll jump over to the league table, just a quick run through that. So at the top, it is the Telford Tigers NIHL 2 side, top of the tree. Now a 3-point lead and a game in hand over the Sutton Sting. Sutton Sting in second on 23 games played and 39 points. Coventry Blaze in third and probably won't be caught. 22 games played, 33 points. Billingham Buccaneers taking that last top 4 spot for home advantage in the playoffs. 23 games played, 24 points. Right there with them after that overtime win, the Sheffield Titans, 23 games, 24 points. Big loss for the Aces, 21 games played, 17 points, back in 6th. Bradford Bulldogs in 7th, playing 1 game more and on 17 points. And then down in 8th, on 7 points, 10 points behind 7th, so you could probably say 8th is probably sewn up. The Kingston Sharks, 23 games played, 7 points. And the Nottingham Lions NIHL 2 side, right at the bottom there on 3 points. And as I said, it is Cup semi-final weekend, also in Division 2. So we do have the first seed, Telford Tigers NIHL 2 versus the Sheffield Titans, who are the 4th seed, who actually qualified for the Cup by beating Kingston due to the Altrincham Buccaneers game being rubbed off by the league. Shit show, by the way. Complete shit show. Shouldn't have been allowed. It just takes that competitive. What's the point? What's the point if you're just going to go, oh, you know what? We're not going to be asked to squeeze this game in. We're not going to be asked to make you play it at midnight somewhere, even though there's so much riding on it. We're just going to give it 0-0 and give another team the cup spot. Yeah, what a shit show. Anyway, the other fixture will be second seed Sutton Stink versus third seed Coventry NIHL players, who have played a couple of dingers already against each other this season. And as I said, for Division 1, if your team's not got no games on, go and visit these teams, go and watch some good hockey. Semi-finals, obviously, you know the Telford Tigers are going to romp home versus the Titans over the two legs. But that Sutton Sting Coventry Blaze game will be a barn burner in each venue. So if you are nearby, get yourself along and watch some good hockey. And that just about covers it. Next week, we'll have episode 18. Won't be a long one next week due to only being the 4 games. Unless something drastic happens over the weekend. We've had quite a quiet weekend. Obviously, the Barons and Dragons news. We are waiting for DOPS, shock horror, and we'll see what they do there. It'll be anything from a pat on the back to 40 games being given out, no doubt, the way DOPS work. So yeah, that is it for episode 17. Thank you for listening. It is much appreciated. If there's anything you want to talk about, if you want to come on and chat some hockey, I don't mind. Give me a call. Don't give me a call because my number's not available. But drop me an email on sticktothepod@gmail.com. Drop me a message on either the Facebook or the Twitter page, also known as X, which is obviously Stick to the Pod. Or leave comments on the episodes on YouTube. And if you do listen on YouTube, please subscribe. And just share it to your friends. If you keep coming back and you keep listening every week, do give it a like and share. Tell your friends about it. Put it in the groups, the hockey groups that you're in, and hopefully I can get the content better for you. I am constantly thinking of ways of doing more things. But do I do another episode a week? Do I split them up to results and previews? Do I do YouTube videos? Do I start doing a vlog on game days when I'm at games watching the Stars? But then it comes very Starsy. Obviously, the team that we're playing against will get a bit of coverage as well. So, would you like to see some of that? But I throw it out to you guys. I'm getting good listener numbers. It seems to be a good little group coming back every week to listen. So I thank you. But if there's anything you guys want to talk about, if there's anything you guys want me to talk about, if you want me to do anything like live on YouTube, I know Anthony at Banners on the Wall does something every Wednesday. I don't mind doing something similar for our division. I know he covers everything NIHL. I certainly won't be doing that. I'll just be covering our division mainly and touching on a few other topics. But yeah, let me know what you guys want and I'll see if I can do it for you. So again, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you over the weekend for a chat, or I'll speak to you next week. Thank you very much.